Welcome back to the vlog. Sorry I missed you guys last week. I was a little bit under the weather and I was kind of celebrating a birthday weekend for myself. Yeah, I'm getting old. Anyway, this vlog will cover 2 sessions, one from each week. And I chose the most difficult sessions of the week. Some of you guys like to see pain, frustration, a little bit of anger. Well, here it comes. One more thing before we get going. I know this is not an investment channel, but I've given some ideas about some investments over the last year or so on this channel. And at the end of the vlog, I'll give you a quick update on where I think things stand. Hop into the 1-3 game for $500. There's a couple big stacks and a couple very small stacks at the table. We've been playing for about 20 minutes. Look down at a pair of aces. It's folded to me. I decide to raise to $15. Get called by the player on my direct left and the small and the big blind. So we go 4 ways to a flop that comes out Queen 6-4 rainbow. Pretty good flop for aces. First 2 players check it over. I'm going to go about 1/3 pot. Looking back on this, I think I should have gone just a little bit bigger. Player on my left puts in the call. And so do both of the blinds. So it looks like everyone has a little bit of this. Turn card comes is a 6 of clubs. Not a great card. Hands like 5-6 or 7-6 that we're taking one off get there. It's checked over to me. I decided to check this one to the player behind me who bets for $35. Now he could be betting queen here. He could be betting a 6. His sizing's a little on the small side, so it makes me feel like he's quite possible that he has a 6 or a queen with a weak kicker. Not sure which one of those is the 2. I was planning to call him down. The small blind now decides to jam all in for about $230. I don't think he has a 6. I'm pretty sure this guy has a queen here all day long. The question is, do I call with a guy behind me that could have a 6? I don't like this situation. I mean, I think this is probably a fold, but I hate folding to a guy that I know has just a queen. So I make the call. If the player behind me calls or raises, I'm done with the hand. Now he tanks for a while and finally just puts in the call. So I know my hand's no good at this point. Well, once he puts the money in, I'm pretty sure I'm dead. So I'm just kicking myself for wasting an extra $230 on this pot. Dealer scoops in the money. Maybe I can catch an ace. Yeah, maybe I'll catch an ace. I can get all my chips in then. Dealer turns, burns, puts up. Jack of hearts. All right, I'm done. I check it over. He ends up putting in a bet for $200, and of course I snap fold. Of course, after I fold, I keep the camera running so we can find out exactly if I was right or wrong about this hand. Player on the far end of the table shows that he had ace queen, and of course my opponent to my left had 5-6 offsuit. Of course, the most frustrating part about this whole hand, besides wasting $230, I didn't have to, was my opponent at the end of the table in the small blind had ace queen. Let me say that again, ace queen, and he didn't check raise the flop. He didn't bet the flop. If he did either one of those 2, this hand would have been much, much different. Well, it's 45 minutes into my session, and I got ace king offsuit. I did reload for an extra $500. There is a limper. I raised to 20. I get called by the big blind, and the limper folds out. 2 of us go to a flop that comes out king 9 deuce rainbow. Really, really good flop for ace king. He checks it over. I'm going to continue for a standard sizing of $20. He doesn't think too long before putting in the call. Turn card comes is a 4 of clubs. He checks it again. I'm going to try to build a little bit bigger pot here. I decided to bet $55. He takes for a while, but finally decides on letting his hand go. So we end up winning a small pot, but since it's the first one of the day, it's more than welcomed. I look down at ace-jack suited in the middle position, open for a raise to 15. I get one caller, and then the player on the button decides that he wants to play for some more money. Now, he's been having a pretty rough day, and he's been kind of spewing here and there. So when he makes it 65, I think he has something, but it doesn't have to be like a premium hand. It doesn't have to be like aces, kings, or queens. But it's probably a decent hand. But I got ace-jack suited. I'm going to go ahead and put in a call against a spewy player, someone who's having a rough day. I'm having a rough day, but I think I can get it back here. We head off heads up to a flop that comes jack 10-8 with 2 hearts. I check it over to him just to see what he's going to do. And he decides that he's just going to ship it. Well, there's about 150 in the pot before, and he bets 156 to go all in. So I need 33% equity against his range. If he has an overpair, I'm not doing too good about that. If he has a, like king, queen of hearts, we're basically flipping, ace, king of hearts, ace, queen of hearts, all those type of hands. But 33% equity, if he has a jack, I think I got him beat. It just the overpairs and the super big draws I'm losing to. And of course, pocket 10s, pocket 8s. Anyway, I thought it was a close decision. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and plug my nose and dive right in. Don't really love my hand. I expect to lose this more often than I win it, especially when it comes with 6 of hearts on the turn. But he shows that he had pocket queens. Well, things aren't going my way today. Maybe I can change my luck with ace queen on the button. There is one limper. I raise to 20. I get called from the big blind. The limper folds out. So we're going heads up to a flop with 44 in. And it comes 7-4-3 with 2 clubs. I do have the ace of clubs. When he checks to me, I'm going to continue for $25. Just trying to get all this junk to fold out. He puts in a quick call. Turn card is a good one for me. It's the 2 of clubs. I got a straight draw and a flush draw still. He checks it over. I decided to check it back because I don't want to be blowing off my hand if he has something that's going to raise me. River card comes as 10 of spades. Of course, we miss everything. But I expect him to be bluffing at this a lot if he doesn't have anything. And he's the type of player that would float. So he bets 50 on the river. I put in a snap call. He had king high, and I show down my ace high and take this one down. All right, maybe my luck is changing here. Pick up pocket 10s in the big blind. There's a $10 straddle, 2 players limp. I raised to 40. I really should be going bigger here, probably 50 or 60. Everyone folds out except for the player on the button, and we're going to go heads up to a flop. Comes out king, king, deuce. Pretty good flop for pocket 10s. There's probably a lot of overcards I do not want to see. I'm just going to go bet $40. Expect a lot of folds out of him. If he does just call, there might be a few kings left in that deck. I'm not going to like it. But he decides to let it go, and I win another small one. Well, this next one's a little bit crazy. We have 5 people limp in for $3. And I'm on the button with ace 9. Offsuit, not a great hand, but I am blocking a lot of strong hands like a bigger ace and stuff like that. I decided I'm just going to try to steal this money, raise to $35. Stealing doesn't work at this table. I get called in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. Yes, 5 spots. So we're going 6 ways to a flop with $216 in, and I got a piece of cheese on the button. Flop comes out 6-4-4. Well, I was thinking if I didn't kill the flop, the next best thing would have a bad flop for most of my opponents. And that's about as bad as you can get for people that are calling a $35 raise. Unless they have a 4, they can't feel too comfortable. Even a 6 would not feel comfortable here. Medium-sized pocket pairs will not be feeling comfortable, especially if I continue. So I fire $100 into this pot. My thinking is, well, I tried to steal it pre-flop, and I got called. I got caught. I didn't flop anything, but I don't think they did either. Let's go ahead and try to steal it again. Everything was going good until I got to the player in the +1 position. He is a non-believer and puts in the $100. Most likely he has some sort of 6 or some sort of draw. King of spades on the turn is a good scare card for me. I mean, if I was bluffing before with, say, a hand like ace king, that could have possibly hit me. But more likely, I just have a big pair. And he checked it over. And of course, let's go for it. I jam all in for my remaining stack. I got about $250-ish left. He tanks and tanks. And I'm thinking, I wish I had a little bit bigger stack. Make this jam a lot easier. He's getting a pretty good price. I think he might call. And finally, he folds. All right, getting even is not out of the question anymore. We pick up ace, queen in the small blind. The player opened for a raise to 15. Player calls, and I call from the big blind. We see a flop of jack 4 deuce rainbow. I check it. It gets checked around. Turn card is a jack of hearts. No one bet the flop. Ace queen may be the best hand at this time, so I decide to lead for $20, just trying to get some folds. I can represent a lot of pairs and, of course, a jack. 2 players call me, and the river card comes as a 4 of clubs. I don't think betting has much advantage here unless it's just a stone bluff. I decided just to check it and see what happens, and the player in the middle decides to bet $55. Next player thinks for a bit and lays it down. Now, what could he have? Well, he could have a jack and slow played it. I don't think he has a 4. He could just be betting ace high. Maybe he has a middle-sized pocket pair and he's just going for some value. But being a little bit hot, being a little bit stuck, and when it's questionable, I don't think I'm going to end up folding this hand. He could have a missed flush draw that I beat. Yeah, that's enough of a reason. I put in the call. He says he has nut low and shows that he has pocket 3s. So he got counterfeited on the river, and we take this one down with ace high. I did play for like another hour after this hand, but apparently the charging cord did not charge my phone, and my phone ended up dying. So I missed out on the recording of me getting kings and getting stacked by pocket aces, which was the finale to a difficult day. I ended up losing $1,000 on this day and came back the next week after I was feeling a little bit better. And this was the first interesting hand I played. I've been playing for about an hour. Finally got 10-9 suited. I'm up a little bit, open for a raise to $15 from under the gun. Player in middle position raises to 40. He doesn't 3-bet a lot, so I'm thinking that he has a pretty good hand. But he's fairly deep, and I'm interested in winning a big pot, so I'd put in the additional 25, and we go heads up to a flop. That comes out to jack 7-6 with 1 spade. I got a gutter and a backdoor flush draw. I check it over to him, and he continues for $55. Now, I'm the first one to say that this is too big of a sizing for me to take one off, but I've been sitting there for an hour without really playing too many hands. I decided to put in a call, see what happens on the turn, because I'm pretty sure he has a really good hand and I can get all the chips in if I hit mine. Turn card is a queen of clubs. It doesn't really help my flush draw, but it does help my straight draw. I'm now open-ended. He bets for $100. Yeah, he probably has a pretty strong hand. Maybe he flopped a set. Maybe he just has aces and kings. But I think he has a strong hand. Now, I put in the call. I'm not getting the direct pot odds to do so, but if I hit my hand, I can get the rest of my chips in. Of course, I miss my hand, and it comes with the 6 of hearts. At least it's a card that is so bad for my hand and my range that there's no way I'm going to be stabbing at it. He tanks for a long time before betting $100, and I quickly fold. So not the greatest of starts, but maybe I can make it up with this hand. I got King 10 of clubs. There's a limp. A player raises to 6. I make it 25. It's folded around to the original limper who puts in the call, and everyone else folds. So hoping for a good flop and being heads up in position. I think I have a lot of options here. Flop comes out Queen 10 deuce with 2 diamonds. He checks it over. I decided to check this back. This is a good hand to check back as a second pair with a good kicker. Turn card is a 6 of spades. He decides to lead for $25. Now, he probably has a hand like a top pair, maybe a queen with maybe a jack kicker or something. I decided to make a loose call just because I think if he bets small, I can get him to fold those one pair type of hands. And here he goes. He bets 25 again on the river. Feels like he's just trying to do like a little blocker bet with like a queen jack type of hand. The flush gets there. I could easily have a backdoor flush draw. I checked the flop. I took one off when the flush card comes. So I decided to raise to 125, just trying to get it to fold his one pair type of hands. I made a mistake on the sizing. I got to go bigger. 125 is not going to get the job done. I should go at least 180 to 200 here. I'm giving him a pretty good pot odds to call. Anyway, after he tanks for a while, he does end up making the call, and I'm kicking myself for my sizing. I show my King 10, and he limped in with Ace Queen and called that bet. Well, the day continued very much like that, but, I'm only stuck like $350, and I got Ace King suited in position. I make it $20. I get a call from the player in the big blind, and there was an early limper who folded. So we go heads up to a flop of King 9-9 with 1 diamond. So I got top pair, backdoor flush draw. He checks it over. I figure this is a good hand to check back for, deception. Turn card is a 5 of hearts. Should change absolutely nothing. My opponent bets for $25. I decide just to call. Let him bluff off if he's bluffing. And if he doesn't, I'll just bet for value on the river. Jack of spades comes. He checks it over to me. I decide to bet a bet of $50. Maybe get a crying call from someone with a 5, or maybe he made a jack or something. Just trying to get paid off with my Ace King. And he thinks and thinks and thinks, and I'm going, come on, just put in the call. Let me win this pot. I get $194 coming my way. And he decides that he's going to put in the min raise. Now, everyone should know this by now, that someone putting in a min raise on the river, they're never bluffing. They always got it. I'm going, what, he slow played the 9? We have his jack 9? Queen 10? Maybe he hit it with queen 10? I don't know. But I'm getting such a really good price, and I am a little bit steamed. I put in the $50. I know my hand's no good. I'm ready just to fold it. And of course, he shows King Jack offsuit. And you can see I'm getting a little frustrated here. And at this point, I decided to leave. I can tell being frustrated and not getting good cards, it's time to go. I put my camera away, start racking up my chips, and of course I get dealt Ace Queen of diamonds. There were a couple lippers. I decided to put in a raise. I raised, I think, to $35 or something like that. Can't really remember. I didn't have it recorded, didn't write it down. Only the original, or the last limper, put in the call. Flop comes out 4-3-3 with 4-3 of diamonds. So I got 2 overcards with my Ace Queen of diamonds and a flush draw. He has a short stack. I just jam all in. I think he had $80 or $90 remaining. He puts it in. He has pocket sevens. I do not improve. And then I really leave. Thanks for making it to the end of the vlog. I really appreciate your support. Of course, we didn't have a very good 2 weeks. We ended up losing $1,375, which is not that that bad considering how bad I played, how bad I ran, and how bad I played. So for the month, we're actually a little bit negative. I think we're down $50. So this will be a quick recap of the last 2 weeks. Starts off with playing bad, running bad, playing bad, getting sick, getting older, playing bad, running bad, playing bad. But all that is okay because Bitcoin is going through the roof and I am heavily invested in it. As many of you know, I've been touting it off and on for the last year, trying to get people more interested in it because I see great potential and it is taken off. So if you don't have any, talk to your financial advisor and ask about maybe getting an allocation because I think this is just the start of a giant bull run. And if you don't get it now, you may regret it for a very long time. And for full disclosure, I am not sponsored by Bitcoin or Bitcoin Corporation or any other corporation that sponsors Bitcoin to make this announcement. It's just me telling another poker player, think about it. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for all your support and good luck at the tables, and I'll see you next week.